You can feel it, can't you? There's this feeling in the air right now, a deep kind of humming anxiety about what's coming next. Artificial intelligence, it's not just another new tool, is it? For a lot of us, it feels like a massive shift in the history of life on Earth, a moment of incredible promise, but also this deep existential fear. And that fear, it's speeding up.
Now this quote, it's from a guy named Geoffrey Hinton, one of the so-called godfathers of AI. So when someone like that, a pioneer who literally helped build this stuff, completely changes his mind about the timeline, predicting it could be here in 20 years or less, well, the world sits up and listens. Suddenly, this abstract fear, it has a deadline.
So what are we actually afraid of here? Look, the core fear isn't about your toaster suddenly getting an attitude. It's about a super intelligence, an intellect so far beyond us it could outmaneuver us at every turn. It's about the alignment problem. I mean, how on earth do you make sure a godlike intellect actually shares our values? And then there's the intelligence explosion. That's the really terrifying one. It's this scenario where an AI starts improving itself over and over so fast that we just lose any ability to even comprehend it, let alone control it.
But here's the thing. What if I told you that this feeling, this deep, world-changing anxiety, it's not new at all? What if this panic we're all feeling is just the latest echo of a fear that's as old as civilization itself?
So to really get a handle on the future, we need to go way back. And I'm not talking about the dawn of computers. No, we're going to a small town in Devon, England, over 130 years ago.
Okay, check this out. This is a real account from back then. A family, the Davises, actually went to the police, totally convinced their neighbors were using the brand new technology of electric light to poison them. Seriously, they claimed it was being thrown through their windows, getting into their teapots and saucepans, making them sick. For them, this new light wasn't progress, it was a weapon. It's a perfect example of how the unknown can turn a simple innovation into something terrifying.
Now, the story of the Davis family, it's not just some quirky historical oddity. It's actually a symptom of a hidden pattern, a repeating cycle that we humans seem to get trapped in every single time we invent something new and disruptive. We can call it the Sisyphean cycle.
Okay, before we really dig into that cycle, we gotta understand a key idea, the moral panic. Basically, it's when society as a whole freaks out about something it thinks is a threat to its values. This thing, whatever it is, gets stereotyped, condemned, and suddenly everyone from news editors to politicians is talking about it. And you know what makes a perfect trigger for a moral panic? Yep, new technology.
So this is how that panic turns into a whole cycle. You remember the Greek myth of Sisyphus, right? The guy doomed to push a boulder up a hill forever, only for it to roll back down every time? Well, our reaction to new tech is kind of like that. Step 1, a new technology shows up. Step 2, society creates a moral panic around it. Step 3, politicians who need to look like they're in control punt the problem to scientists to study it. But here's the catch. Science is slow, and before we get any real answers, a newer technology appears. We forget about the old one, and that boulder rolls right back to the bottom. And we start the whole process all over again.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This cycle has played out again and again and again throughout our history. Let's take a look at the receipts.
This is not a modern thing. I mean, this pattern stretches back thousands of years. We panicked about writing. Yeah, writing, fearing it would destroy our memory. We panicked about the printing press, fearing it would destroy authority. We panicked about the radio, convinced it was an intruder in our homes. And of course, we panicked over a simple calendar bug, thinking it was going to crash civilization.
Let's start with Plato, all the way back around 370 BCE. He literally argued that the technology of writing would make people forgetful, that we'd stop using our own memories and just rely on these squiggles on a page. And it would lead to a kind of shallow, fake wisdom instead of real, deep understanding. Does that sound familiar at all? He was worried about outsourcing our thinking, the exact same fear we're talking about today with AI.
Okay, now let's jump forward to the 1450s. The printing press arrives. At first, everyone thinks it's a gift from God, but the people in charge, they quickly realized it was a huge threat. Why? Because it meant they could lose control of the story. Suddenly, anyone could read the Bible and decide for themselves what it meant. And the result? You guessed it, a full-blown moral panic, which led to the creation of the Index of Prohibited Books, basically the church's first attempt to censor this dangerous new tech.
And how about the 1930s, when radio started popping up in every living room? So-called experts warned it was an addiction, comparing it to alcoholism.
They worried it was making kids nervous and scared. One expert even said that, unlike other media, no locks will keep this intruder out. I mean, you could literally copy and paste that quote into an article about smartphones and social media today. It's the exact same fear.
And of course, who could forget Y2K? The fear was that a simple coding shortcut, just using 2 digits for the year instead of 4, was going to cause a global meltdown of every computer system on the planet at midnight. The panic got so huge that the world spent, get this, up to $600 billion preparing for a disaster that, well, pretty much never happened. It was our cycle of panic, but on a massive global economic scale.
Okay, so we've seen the pattern repeat throughout history. But the big question is, why? What is it deep down in our psychology that makes us so wired to fear the new?
Well, it really boils down to a handful of core anxieties. We're afraid of losing control, right? Of some machine making decisions for us. We're afraid of losing our identity. I mean, if a machine can think, then what makes us so special? We are just fundamentally uncomfortable with uncertainty. And let's be honest, it's way easier to blame a new gadget for big, complex social problems than to actually face how messy reality is.
Think about it like this. It's the fundamental trade-off with every single piece of tech. Take the humble calculator. We gained incredible speed and efficiency, right? But what do we lose? For a lot of us, our basic mental math skills went out the window. We're always trading one capability for another. Every new technology forces us into this negotiation. And that negotiation, that's where the anxiety comes from. We have to ask ourselves, what are we gaining? And just as important, what are we giving up?
Which brings us full circle, all the way back to today. We've seen the historical cycle, we've looked at the psychology behind it, so we're left with the ultimate question. Is AI just another spin of the wheel? Is this just us fearing what we don't understand, again? Or is this time actually different?
Well, the optimistic take on this is based on a process you could call domestication. Think about the car. When it was invented, it was a ridiculously dangerous machine. People were terrified, but we didn't ban it, did we? No, we domesticated it. We created traffic laws, driver's licenses, social rules about how to drive. We built an entire system around it to manage the risks. And we've done this for literally every new technology. So let's break it down. On one side, you have the argument that this is all just the same old story. AI is a new tool, it's causing a predictable moral panic, and hey, just because something can talk like a human doesn't mean it actually thinks like one. But then there's the other side, and these arguments are seriously powerful. Unlike a car or a radio, AI could improve itself again and again, exponentially. A true superintelligence might be so smart it could easily deceive us, or just refuse to be shut down. At that point, it's not a tool anymore, is it? It's an agent with its own goals. It's like an alien mind operating on a level we just can't comprehend.
And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Every single panic we've had before was about a tool, something that extended what humans could do, a tool that ultimately we were in control of. The fear around AI is that, for the very first time, we might be building something that isn't a tool at all, something that could, by its very nature, be uncontrollable. For all of human history, we have been the smartest things on the planet. And that's the core of the anxiety today. What happens when we're not?